Greetings, light workers. This is Oya Transformation, and this is your daily oracle reading for June the 29th, 2020. The cards have been prayed upon, and the messages are as follows. The first card that was pulled is the Ever Unfolding Rose, cracked open. It's happening for you and not to you. Well, that's kind of self-explanatory, because what they're telling me is that you are not useful. I am not useful until I am broken. Which is so much like so many other oxymoronic things that happen in life. As a child, we're taught to learn to be confident and secure and know who you are and walk in your truth, hopefully. And then from spirit, we are told that's okay, but be willing to be broken. Now, I don't know about you, but the idea of being broken doesn't sound like a lot of fun. But guess what? When I sit and think about the experiences that challenged me most, or that cracked me open, truthfully, the best blessings came from them. I hate the expression no pain, no gain, but I don't think it's true either, because we can gain insight in increments without pain, without struggle. But some of the biggest leaps in consciousness and in our spiritual development comes from places where we knew not, places where we would rather have not gone. But once we got there, there were many aha moments and many learning scenarios within that situation. Because once we have gone through some things, we learn to be more receptive to other people's struggles. Because it's not until I realize that I don't get it right all the time that I can look at somebody else's stumblings and say, they're going to be okay. Or, can I help you? Or, let me share my experience in that area so that maybe you don't have to struggle as long. But what we do know is we can't deny anyone their path. Sometimes there are places you have to go that nobody would want to go, and you don't want to go either. But there's a lesson that was divinely placed there for you. And without traveling that road, you'll get it, because it's made for you to get. But you just prolong getting it. But that's all I'm going to say about that. Moving on to the second card of the three that support the message for today, and that is compassion. And if you notice, compassion is magenta all the way through at its core, and it's surrounded by magenta, which says compassion comes from spirit. Its core is spirit. It's surrounded by spirit. There's no way to have compassion without being in tune with spirit. And so if we're cracked open and we are willing, and we recognize the need to be vulnerable, if we are to learn our lessons well, if we are going to try to be the best representation of ourselves, strong is a wonderful thing, but sometimes strong is inaccessible. Sometimes strong does not allow human connection, and we are here to connect. This whole thing is about relationship. And if you're so strong in that you have your fences built high, and barricades and moats and snakes in the water, ain't nobody going over there to see you. You can find yourself alone and lonely, because alone is okay, but lonely, not so much. So we're asked to be open and compassionate. So once we become vulnerable, we can see maybe a few steps another person is taking in their moccasins. Why? Because we stumbled there too at some point. The second card that supports this message of being open to vulnerability is strength. Strength is an 18, and on the front of it is the mighty oak, and under that is the acorn. Well, this strength that we speak of talks about not forgetting where you came from. So, we have all the accolades, we do all the wonderful things, and the people blow us up, we blow ourselves up, and are we able to look back and help somebody else? Well, the mighty oak is mightiest if it remembers the struggles of the acorn. Can you imagine rolling around being an acorn, hoping and praying that this squirrel that's gathered you up and put you in a corner forgets about you or where it planted you? And how long do you have to do that before you get cracked open and the roots begin to come out and you get grounded? And how many acorns roll around and never get cracked open, or they get cracked open and eaten, or the roots begin to ground and some little root-eating animal eats them up? So yes, it is a major accomplishment to become a mighty oak. But oaks have to be flexible. Much like the story of the acorn, acorns have to roll around and pray that they get to root. And oaks have to be flexible and pray that they don't topple by the great winds. So the essence has to remain, and you have to remember what the essence was in that strength. And the final card of this message is Paradigm Shift. So that means on the front of it is a building that has spirit over top of it, moving the building. Okay, so primarily we are looking at the rose and all the levels of the rose, because its beauty is found in not only the petals but the spacing in the petals. So it was once a bulb that had to be cracked open for us to recognize the beauty. We saw the promise, but some bulbs never crack open. So in the promise and in the spacing with each crack, the beauty unfolds. And to support that thought or that way of being, we have to remember to be compassionate. We have to remember where we are, where we came from, and that no matter how anchored we are in our beliefs, Spirit has a way of shifting the entire scenario, just topple it over on its head. And how do you function when that happens? Well, you function by recognizing that help comes in some of the most inconceivable ways. And all we have to know is that it's always available to us. Help is always on the way. Things are always working out for us. And when we let go of our tight hold on exactly what it's supposed to look like, it will begin to look like what it's supposed to look like, without our grubby little hands gnarled around how it's going to be. It's going to be what it's supposed to be. And like that mighty oak, our strength comes from being flexible, from being reminiscent of where we came from being vulnerable and compassionate. This is Oya Transformation, and I thank you for listening. May you have the best Monday of your choosing. Namaste.